She dropped out of Stanford at age 19 with a vision to change the world. A vision so bold it seemed to defy reality itself. She promised a technology that would perform hundreds of medical tests with just a single drop of blood from a patient's finger. The media called her the next Steve Jobs. At her peak, she was a self-made billionaire, commanding a company valued at over $9 billion. She was the youngest female billionaire in the world, and her story was a beacon of hope for every ambitious entrepreneur. But her story isn't about success. It's about one of the most brazen frauds in modern history. This is the unbelievable story of Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos, a story that proves that charisma, a black turtleneck, and a good pitch can convince the world to believe in a product that doesn't even exist. The premise of Theranos was simple and beautiful, almost too good to be true. No more large vials of blood, no more painful needles, just a single drop of blood from a patient's finger, and their groundbreaking machine, the Edison, would run dozens of tests in minutes. It was a promise that could change medicine forever. Investors and the public were captivated by her vision, and she was able to raise millions of dollars on that promise alone. The lie was so big and the promise so compelling that it was almost impossible to question its legitimacy. Her confidence and deep, commanding voice were the real product, and they were so powerful that they blinded investors and the media to the lack of any actual working technology. The media and investors were so blinded by the potential of her product, a product that had not been built, that they were willing to overlook all of the red flags. Elizabeth Holmes was a master of fake it till you make it. In the early days of Theranos, she knew her technology didn't work, and she knew she couldn't show it to anyone. Instead of telling the truth, she created a facade. She would walk into a room with her device, which was an empty box with a single light on it. She would then put a sample of blood in the box, and a few minutes later, she would show the results on a separate screen that was pre-programmed with a fake outcome. This brazen act of deception was the foundation of her business model. She wasn't just faking a product, she was faking an entire business. And her confidence was the main selling point. She was a brilliant manipulator, and her confidence was so powerful that it convinced the world to believe in a product that didn't even exist. To give her company an air of legitimacy and to keep away any prying eyes, Elizabeth Holmes assembled a board of directors that was a who's who of political and military powerhouses. Her board included former U.S. Secretaries of State Henry Kissinger and George Shultz, and former U.S. Secretary of Defense William Perry. These men were powerful and respected, but they had no background in medicine or science. Their presence on the board was a brilliant psychological trick. Investors saw these powerful names and assumed the technology must be legitimate. The board was a trap, a shield that protected her from any real scientific scrutiny. The algorithm was designed to sell credibility, not a product, and the powerful, distinguished board members were simply a part of the scam. The media was a key part of the scam. Publications like Fortune and Forbes ran glowing profiles of Elizabeth Holmes, calling her a visionary and a genius. She was on the cover of magazines, giving TED Talks, and speaking at major conferences. She was a master of using the media to build a narrative of success. She would carefully control every interview, ensuring that no one could ask her about the specifics of her technology. She would use her charisma and her powerful connections to silence any critics. The algorithm was designed to create a media hype machine that was so powerful, it was impossible for anyone to question the truth. The media was so blinded by the promise of her product that they were willing to overlook the red flags, and they became a part of the scam. The biggest secret of Theranos was its black box technology. She claimed that the device was so revolutionary that it was a trade secret, and she refused to show it to anyone, even her own employees. This was the most brilliant part of the scam. The black box was not a revolutionary device, it was a front. She was using commercial blood analyzers from other companies to run her tests, and she was simply faking the results. The black box was an empty promise, a metaphor for the entire company. It was a brilliant way to hide the truth in plain sight, and it worked for years. The house of cards began to fall in 2015 when a reporter from the Wall Street Journal, John Carreyrou, began to investigate the company. He spoke to former employees who revealed the company's lies and deceptions. The report, which was published in October 2015, was a bombshell. It revealed that Theranos was using traditional blood analyzers and that its own technology was a complete failure. The report was a powerful exposé that brought the entire scam down. It showed that even with a powerful board, a media hype machine, and a charismatic founder, the truth will eventually come out. The exposé was just the beginning. The company's partners, including Walgreens and Safeway, began to sever their ties. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the U.S. Department of Justice, and the U.S. Attorney's Office began to investigate the company. Lawsuits from investors and former employees began to pour in. The company was in a freefall, and Elizabeth Holmes was at the center of it all. Her charisma and her powerful connections were no longer enough to protect her. The algorithm that had built her empire was now working against her, bringing her down with a brutal efficiency. The most fascinating part of the Theranos scam is how it worked. It wasn't just about a broken product, it was about a powerful psychological trap. Elizabeth Holmes was a master of a psychological algorithm. She used her deep voice, her unwavering confidence, and her ability to tell a powerful story to convince people to believe in her. She was a brilliant salesperson, and her product was a lie. She was able to convince her investors, her employees, and the media to suspend their disbelief and to believe in her vision. She was a brilliant manipulator, and her confidence was the main selling point. Theranos was a unicorn in Silicon Valley, a private company with a valuation of over $1 billion. But the valuation was a complete illusion. It was based on a lie. The algorithm was designed to create an illusion of a billion-dollar company, and it worked. The venture capitalists and the investors were blinded by the potential of the product, and they were willing to overlook the red flags. The unicorn was a trap, a lure designed to attract more money, and it worked brilliantly. The entire company was a scam, a house of cards built on a foundation of a lie. The end of the story is brutal and definitive. In 2018, Elizabeth Holmes was indicted on 9 counts of wire fraud and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Her company was dissolved and her assets were seized. Her trial was a media spectacle, and she was found guilty on 4 counts of defrauding investors. She was sentenced to more than 11 years in prison. The story of Theranos is a powerful lesson that in the end, the truth will always come out. You can't fake a product forever. The algorithm of deception is brilliant, but it's no match for the truth. The story of Theranos is a powerful lesson for wealth flair. It shows that immense wealth is not always a result of a brilliant idea or hard work. It can also be a result of a brilliant scam. The algorithm of deception is a powerful tool, but it's a dangerous one. Your wealth flair isn't about finding a shortcut to the top or creating an empire through controversial means. It's about understanding how wealth is truly built and making a choice about the kind of wealth you want to build. The real victory isn't a high valuation, it's a clear conscience. The true flair comes from mastering your own integrity and building genuine wealth, far away from the blurred lines and hidden secrets of power. Choose wisdom over shortcuts, and only then can you truly protect your flair. If you enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button. Also do like, share, and comment. Thank you.